in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com. And BetterHelp, committed to supporting mental health through therapy and helping clients find balance. Clients are matched with one of 30,000 therapists for online therapy from anywhere at betterhelp.com/public.
It's here and now. We're getting a better picture of the impact President Trump's immigration policies have had on the workforce. The Pew Research Center reports that more than 1.2 million immigrants have disappeared from the labor pool in the first 7 months of the year. The center analyzed data from the Census Bureau, and the report includes undocumented immigrants and people who are in the U.S. legally. Immigrants make up about 20% of the workforce, but in some industries like farming and fishing, Pew reports that as many as 45% of workers are immigrants. And that proportion had been rising for more than 50 years, but now it is starting to decline. Mexico's central bank, meanwhile, also reports that immigrants are sending less money from the U.S. to Mexico. Remittances are down by nearly 5% in July compared to last year.
Well, today is the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. On September 2nd, 1945, Japan formally surrendered to the Allies. But for a brief moment that day, the surrender ceremony hit a snag. NPR producer Henry Larson tells us what happened.
The official surrender happened on the deck of the USS Missouri, the battleship anchored off the coast of Japan, flanked by other Allied ships.
In the Bay of Tokyo itself, the United States destroyer Buchanan comes alongside, bringing representatives of the Allied powers to witness the final capitulation.
There is, on what is now known as the surrender deck, a table, and it is where the instrument of unconditional surrender is waiting to be signed by not only all of the Allied nations, but also the representatives of Japan.
That's journalist Murray Brewster.
I am the defense and foreign policy correspondent for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
He notes that among the Allied representatives witnessing the Japanese surrender in 1945 was a Canadian colonel named Lawrence Cosgrave.
He is perhaps among the lowest ranking member of the military who would be present at that scene, or at least asked to be in the front row.
The time is 9:05 a.m. The Japanese have been on board exactly 10 minutes.
The Japanese signed the document first, and then came the Allies.
General MacArthur signs as Supreme Allied Commander.
Everyone has to sign on the dotted line, and all of the Allied partners had lined up to sign. They were allowed to come and sit down at the table where they would sign on behalf of their country.
Colonel Lawrence Moore Cosgrave for Canada.
He went to sign, but he missed his line. He signed below where his signature should be. The Japanese, when they saw that not all of the signatures were in the appropriate place, suggested to General MacArthur's chief of staff that they wouldn't accept the document.
The flub could have sparked a diplomatic incident, but it didn't. Someone came up with a fix, and the Japanese eventually relented. The damage to Cosgrave's legacy, though, was done.
Colonel Cosgrave is remembered as the signatory to the instrument of surrender who signed on the wrong line. And his passing in 1970 was noted in the New York Times as just that.
Brewster wanted to change that. He poured through the records that remained of Cosgrave's life at the Canadian War Museum. He learned the colonel had lost an eye many years before the day of the surrender, and found a short book Cosgrave wrote about his service in the First World War.
He became a diplomat and traveled extensively in the Far East and was very culturally in tune with the countries of Japan and China.
It was partly those cultural connections that brought him to Tokyo Bay in 1945. And in the days leading up to that fateful moment, Cosgrave toured some of those same cities he had once visited as a diplomat.
And he was awed by the destruction.
Picture this man, half blind, having just seen what became of mainland Japan, surrounded by admirals and generals made famous by years of war.
Swarms of United States aircraft fly in formation overhead as the ceremony ends. The final United Nations victory has been won. The war is over. Peace is here.
He was overwhelmed because of the company he was in. That comes through very clearly in his official report to the federal government.
A report that makes no mention of his blunder. But Brewster says Cosgrave's story also serves as a lesson. Don't be so quick to judge.
We live in an age right now where there are instantaneous judgments about people and about their character. This soldier, diplomat, I won't give him the title of poet, but certainly a man with a poetic soul, is known to history as the man who signed on the wrong line. But his life was so much more than that.
Murray Brewster first wrote about Colonel Cosgrave for Legion magazine. Henry Larson, NPR News.
And this afternoon on All Things Considered, one of NPR's founding mothers, Susan Stamberg, one of the most famous voices in America, looks back over her groundbreaking career. She's retiring after 54 years at NPR. Present at the creation, you can hear Susan Stamberg's reflections on the NPR app or turn on your radio. Party like it's 19...
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2 p.m. Roanoke City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Hagan?
Here.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones?
Here.
Mr. Nash?
Here.
Mr. Volleson?
Here.
And Mayor Cobb is absent today, and Vice Mayor McGuire.
Here. And we have a quorum. Our invocation today will be delivered by my friend, Elder Milton Hardy Jr., Associate Pastor of the Greater Prayer Temple, and following that, I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in standing.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we pause in this moment to invite your presence into this place. We thank you for every council member gathered here today, for their willingness to serve and for their responsibility they carry on behalf of our city. Lord, we ask that you cover this meeting with your wisdom, bind this council together in unity, that even in their differences, they will work with one heart for the good of all the people. Fill the decisions with compassion, their words with grace, and their actions with fairness. Where there is division, let there be peace. When there is a need, let there be generosity. And where there's discouragement, Lord, we ask you to bring renewed courage. May everything said and done here today reflect your love and bring blessing to our community. It's in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I ask Councilmember Volleson to read our certification of closed meeting, please?
Sure. I move with respect to any closed meeting just concluded that each member of City Council in attendance certify to the best of his or her knowledge that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters as were identified in any motion by which any closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered by the members of council in attendance.
Thank you, Councilmember Volleson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hagan. And Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Powers? Aye. Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones? Aye. Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McGuire?
Aye. And the motion passes. Thank you. We have a couple of announcements. The Council of the City of Roanoke is seeking applications for various vacancies on council-appointed authorities, boards, commissions, and committees. Please access the city's website at www.roanokeva.gov to complete an online application. And our second announcement is that the Mayor's Fall Business Summit is planned for Monday, September 22nd, in partnership with the Virginia Western Community College. This event is being held on the campus of VWCC in the Whitman Auditorium, Fralin Building. Event registration opened on August 7th and is continuing to be rolled out via social media. So please check that out. And we will turn now to presentations and acknowledgements, and we'll start with council shout-outs. And I'll start with Councilmember Hagan.
I guess I got a preemptive shout out. So a community theater by Bear Theater has their opening night this Friday for Sylvia, or a play called Sylvia. Highly encourage people to go.
Excellent, thank you.
My shout out goes to Roanoke City Public Schools for the opening of their Welcome Center, or Community Empowerment Center. It's going to be great for our city, and I'm very grateful.
Good.
I would echo the same with the Empowerment Center. It was a really cool experience to be there. And before they had even cut the ribbon and kind of, had their ribbon cutting, they had already helped 300 families get ready to get their students ready for the school year. And so that was really great to hear. So congratulations to them.
I'd like to acknowledge the Western Virginia Federation of Labor Unions for the Labor Day Parade this past Saturday. It's great to see that growing every year, and let's not forget that Labor Day is brought to all of us by unions. And then the second person I want to shout out is former Councilwoman Trish White Boyd, who had her annual fish fry this past Saturday as well. It was great to have all the community together at Villa Heights. It's such a beautiful park, and have a great time. So I wanted to thank her for that community event she does.
Yes, thank you. My shout out is to the Office of Sustainability and the park staff who helped host the Southwest Virginia Bee Festival participation back on August 23rd. I thought this was very important to teach us the importance of what the bee population does for us. And I've attended several of their things, and this year I was successful in having my first bee garden, and so it was nice. It was nice to see that a lot of children went, so they're learning all about how the bees pollinate so that we have food. So thank Parks and Office of Sustainability for what you do.
Thank you. I would echo all of those, and I want to use my shout out to say thank you to all of the first responders and the fire and EMS folks, especially Trevor Shannon, that responded, I think it was the 21st earlier this month, to the extreme rainfall downpour event that we had. I saw from the notes 4.27 inches in 2 hours, which was a once in a 500-year weather event. So really appreciate all of our city staff, our first responders who responded and helped get some people out of some flooded situations. And just really appreciate also connected to that all of the work that Stormwater and we're doing across the city to make all of our neighborhoods more resilient to that kind of weather event. So thank you all. We will turn now to, I'm going to ask Karen Mikulski-Carney, the Executive Director of the Blue Ridge Independent Living Center, to join me at the podium, and I have a proclamation that I will read and present. All right. This is a proclamation in support of Disability Voting Rights Week. Whereas over 70 million people with disabilities live in every community across the United States, comprising nearly 1/4 of the nation's population. Whereas more than 40.2 million eligible voters in the United States are people with disabilities, representing close to 1/6 of the total electorate. Whereas the disability community has a vital stake in local, state, and national policies and decisions that directly affect our daily lives. Whereas accessible voting is essential to ensure that these policies reflect the needs, experiences, and priorities of people with disabilities. And whereas voting is one way for the disability community to have a say in the people and policies that impact our communities. Now, therefore, I, Vice Mayor Terry McGuire, on behalf of Joseph C. Cobb, Mayor of the City of Roanoke, Virginia, and all the citizens of the City of Roanoke, do hereby affirm its support for the growing leadership and civic participation of the disability community, and do hereby proclaim the week of September 8th through September 12th, 2025, as Disability Voting Rights Week, and encourage residents, leaders, and organizations to engage, educate, and promote the power of the disability vote. Thank you very much, and Karen, could I turn this over to you to say a few words?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the Disability Voting Rights Week represents. For those of you who might not know, the movement is hosted by the American Association of People with Disabilities Rev Up campaign. It's about advocating for accessible futures, celebrating community, and building power. The week was created by grassroots disabled activists as a cross-disability, cross-movement week of action and celebration. Throughout the week, we want voters with disabilities to know that their vote matters and understand that voting is one way they can use their power in their community. We want them to feel solidarity with the broader community and feel supported to access their right to vote. And finally, we want voters with disabilities to register to vote, to make a plan to vote in November, support a friend to register, educate others, and most importantly, to vote. Also throughout the week, we want elected officials, election officials, poll workers, and non-disabled people to learn about the barriers that disabled voters face. Things like the polling place not being accessible, or lack of information in accessible format. We also want them to learn what actions they can take to make voting more accessible, also to recognize the power of the disability community and the importance of building accessible systems, and also to engage the disability community during not only this week of action, but in every election cycle. And on behalf of the almost 20,000 City of Roanoke citizens with disabilities, we want to thank you for this proclamation. Thank you.
Okay, got you now. Okay, come on up. I'm winging it, buddy.
That looks good. 2, 3. One more. Perfect. Thank you.
It's kind of hard to believe, but early voting opens in just a few weeks on September 19th, I believe. So it is not too soon to start thinking about how you cast your ballot, and there are a lot of options now, so you can vote by mail. So check that out. I'm sure we'll give some more reminders as that gets closer. At this time, we are turning to the hearing of citizens upon public matters. The City Council sets this time as a priority for citizens to be heard. All matters will be referred to the city manager for response, recommendation, or report to the council as she may deem appropriate. Ms. McCoy, do we have any citizens signed up to speak?
Yes, I have a Ken Githier and Lillian Jackline. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Githier? Yes. Come on up. And will we do
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? All right. Thank you all for giving me this time to...
Oh, yeah, sir, I'm sorry. Will you pull your microphone up? Thank you.
All right. Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Just
afternoon.
wanted to thank you all for giving me this time to present my concerns, issues, and highlight issue that I think you guys have briefly mentioned about flooding. So the flooding has been happening in my property and my neighborhood in Fairland. My house is a single house that has been impacted quite frequently whenever we have any flooding issues. I think the root cause of this issue is there's no drainage system at all in that area. So every time we have small rains, it floods about, I'll say about 24 to 36 inches. So the severity of it depends on, of course, the rain, but also we've noticed the issue has become more prevalent, and the occurrence and frequency has occurred more since I think it's called the sound barrier was built near the mall area. So we've seen the floods being directed to one direction, and the last one had a lot of structural damage to the area. Took a while to be able to pump out the water. So just wanted to highlight that and see if there's anybody who's addressing that issue because of three things. First of all, it has caused the value of houses to depreciate. However, when it comes to taxes, they've been going up, which is the opposite. Insurance cost, we do have flood insurance compared to the regular insurance that everybody has, but once you do a claim, they always try to get you out of the flooding insurance coverage. So just wanted to take this time to highlight that issue. With a short notice, I was unable to get more neighbors to come to this meeting because of the holiday week. So if we need to present it as a group, I think we can plan for that. But those are the things I wanted to highlight this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Do we have his information? And I guess we can, if we have his address, we can follow up and look into, it sounds like the flooding issues that you're describing. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming down and bringing that to our attention.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, what was the name of the second speaker?
The second speaker, well, it was along with same, it was on the same one, but I don't. Lillian?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Did we have any other
No,
speakers
no
signed
other
up today?
speakers. No.
All right. Well, thank you for coming down and speaking and bringing that to our attention. We will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by members of the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of the items. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Council Members Hagan and Volleson. And Ms. McCoy, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Powers?
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye. And the consent agenda is approved. Thank you. Moving to our regular agenda, I don't see any public hearings. So no public hearings and no petitions or communications. I think we'll turn to reports of city officers and the city manager. So I will turn it over to City Manager Turner for our first briefing.
Thank you, Vice Mayor McGuire and members of council. I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Finance, Mrs. Margaret Lindsay, and she'll give our monthly financial report.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lindsay.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor McGuire, members of council. We have a few numbers for you this afternoon, and for the folks listening or watching that are not in the chambers. This is the month of July 2025 report. So I will caveat the numbers that you will see in just a minute by saying of all of the reports I present all year long each month, these numbers will change the most, just by virtue of where July falls in our fiscal year calendar as being the first month. I will also just remind, because it will look very obvious in just a moment, a year ago, July 1st of 24, we did migrate to our new financial software system. And so in looking back over the weekend and this morning at July 2024's information, it is not as complete as you will see July of 25. We were just learning the system. We did not have everything posted. I imagine August caught that up, but it will look very different to compare. So I would just urge, there's not a lot of comparison to be had with what we present, but I did want to keep consistent the format that we have been using. So to revenue, we have a very nice picture for fiscal 26, the first month. I will comment that the personal property tax that you see there for fiscal 26 actual, 2.4 million, is almost exclusively delinquent collections, which is wonderful. So kudos to our treasurer's office and the collection folks and the folks who have made payments as well. Of course, with real estate, it is a very quiet period. I'm happy to report that I can say the new bills that are due October 5th have been received, at least in my household, and will be paid soon. Also, for this list, I want to just point out again, we do accruals. So just by way of example, sales tax that's listed there at 2.3 million are the dollars that are the May 2025 collections. So they will come back into fiscal 25. Same with the month of August, which represents the June collections. And so we move them, put them where they belong in that first 60 days. Also, similarly with prepared food and beverage, the 2.1 million reflects the June food and beverage tax and collections. And that is consistent every year. So on our non-tax revenue, I have one that really stands out. The permits, fees, and licenses at 1.5 million on a budget for the full year of 2,037,000 is a great way to start the year, I must say. We did have one building permit and the associated plan review fees for the new Carilion Cancer Center that tops at just over 1.3 million. So I do not expect to have routine months like July, but I'm very happy to start the year that way. The construction is fascinating to watch. I drive by most mornings on the way in, and I enjoy seeing what's being built. I will also call your attention to the revenue from use of money and property. You can see for fiscal 26, we're just under 295,000 for the month, whereas fiscal 25 says 16,000. There again was most likely, from what I've looked back, we did not get all of our entries posted before we had to report to council. So yes, July of 24 in fiscal year 25 had more income than that, and we catch that up year to date as we go through the year. And then on our expenditures, we are running about as expected, with the exception of general government being a little bit higher than the target of 8.33. And again, that is some payments, if you think about insurance premiums that are due around the first of the fiscal year every year, they all get paid for the year. So there were several items such as that are in the general government category. And I will also comment that for fiscal 25, we had not imported payroll costs yet. So again, having only 18 million for the total general fund expenditures for fiscal 25 is clearly understated. Everything is posted in fiscal 26, and again, that catches up as we go through August. So it certainly looks a little odd on our handout, our presentation here, but it is all in there for the whole fiscal year for 25. Again, this is very small, and I apologize. These are our temporary wages for the month of July, and I just want to point out, just by way of example, in our fleet, our unit 2641, fleet management, you will see the $100,000, very round number. That isn't an encumbrance for the services that they will use of one of our temporary staffing services here in the city. We have several that we have contracted with, and so they reserve their budget funds, and that will then spend as invoices are presented. And last but not least is overtime for the month of July. Again, there will be some changes on this, primarily because overtime, of course, is a function of our payroll, and our first pay in the month of July, which is posted here and throughout the numbers, will almost all of it gets accrued back into fiscal 25. So this will drop a little bit because it's got some June time in it, but that again will be caught up by the time I present to you in October with August information. I'm happy to answer any questions or take anything back that you would like to have a little research done.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I like not seeing so much
Thank
red
you.
on it.
Thank you very much. We will receive and file the July monthly budget report. We have several items recommended for action. The first, acceptance and appropriation of funds from Virginia Western Community College for the shared installation cost of pedestrian safety equipment, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and signs. I need a motion and a second.
I move the motion.
Second.
Thank you, council members Powers and Volleson. And I'll ask the city clerk to please read the title paragraph.
An ordinance authorizing acceptance of reimbursement from Virginia Western Community College for the shared installation cost of pedestrian safety equipment, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and signs, authorizing execution of any required documents on behalf of the city, appropriating reimbursed funds detailed more fully infra, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you very much. Do you have some comments, Ms. Turner?
I do. Thank you, Vice Mayor McGuire. The city and the Virginia Western Community College partnered to share the cost of installing new rectangular rapid flashing beacons and warning signs, ensuring safer crossings along Colonial Avenue. This action formalizes our reimbursement contribution towards the completed project.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any discussion? Well, I'm glad to see it. I drive through there every single day, and I love that new traffic circle. I see some people still struggling with how to navigate it correctly, though, so I appreciate very much the efforts to make it even safer. So I think if there's no discussion, could we call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones? Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Okay, next we have acceptance and appropriation of FEMA, that's Federal Emergency Management Administration Disaster Assistance Funds. We need, it's one measure, an ordinance. We need a motion and a second, please.
Move the ordinance. Second.
Thank you, Council Members Volleson and Hagan. And I'll ask Ms. McCoy to please read the title paragraph.
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of the Virginia Department of Emergency Management Disaster Assistance Funds to the city, authorizing execution of any required documents on behalf of the city, appropriating funds detailed more fully infra, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you very much. Do you have any comments, Ms. Turner?
I do, thank you. This is reimbursement funds from Hurricane Helene related to our protective response during the storm, cleanup efforts and repairs completed on the Wiley Drive Bridge in Wasena and the roofs of several city facilities.
Thank you very much, Ms. Turner. Is there any discussion or any questions? Okay, we'll ask, please, the city clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones? Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Next, we have the acceptance and appropriation of Virginia Department of Fire Programs grant. We have one measure and ordinance. We need a motion and a second.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you, Council Members Hagan and Sanchez Jones. And Ms. McCoy, could you please read the title paragraph?
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of the Virginia Department of Fire Programs FY26 grant, authorizing execution of any required documents on behalf of the city, appropriating grant funds detailed more fully infra, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you very much. Any discussion or questions?
I guess I just have one question. Is the allocation of this based off of population of the individual cities?
I'm not sure.
No, do we?
Come on down, Chief Hoback.
No, this is based on insurance ratings, and it's basically 1% insurance cost that is within our community is reallocated back to our community, which is called aid to localities. All fire departments across the Commonwealth receive this funds, and we have a very strict guidelines of how those funds are spent.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Okay. No other discussion. Ms. McCoy, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones? Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Okay, the next is execution of a revocable license agreement between the City of Roanoke, Virginia, and Blue Ridge Literacy. We have one measure and ordinance. Need a motion and a second, please.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you, Council Members Volleson and Sanchez Jones. And I'll ask Ms. McCoy to please read the title paragraph.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager or designee to execute on behalf of the city a revocable license agreement with Blue Ridge Literacy for the use of approximately 1,800 square feet of space known as the Hospitality Room at the city's main library, located at 706 South Jefferson Street, Roanoke, Virginia, which would house Blue Ridge Literacy administrative offices and tutoring services, authorizing the city manager or designee to implement, administer, and enforce such a revocable license agreement, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Do you have comments for us?
I do, thank you. This request supports a very successful collaboration between Blue Ridge Literacy and the libraries to support literacy learning. Blue Ridge Literacy has an agreement with the City of Roanoke to use free space at the main library. We're requesting that this contract be renewed again with the new term running from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026, with the option to continue annual renewals for 4 years.
Thank you very much. Any discussion or comments? Ms. Powers?
Yes, I would just say in the month of July, we had the cupcakes with council at the main library, and the Blue Ridge Literacy was there each time I had the opportunity to do 2 of those events, and it was very eye-opening to get to see what this organization does for our city, and the people were very gracious to be able to have that space because they do have access to get there easily. So I'm happy to see this. Thank you for what you do, and thank the libraries for everything that they do.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just echo, really appreciate the program, and thank you for covering my cupcakes with council that I couldn't make, Councilmember Powers. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, Ms. McCoy, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones? Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McGuire?
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Our next is acquisition of temporary construction easements and drainage easements for a drainage improvement project in the vicinity of Clifton Street Northwest. We have one measure and ordinance. I need a motion and a second. Please.
I move the motion.
Second.
Thank you, Council Members Powers and Hagan. And Ms. McCoy, would you please read the title paragraph?
An ordinance providing for the acquisition of real property rights needed by the City of Roanoke in connection with the Clifton Street Northwest to 22nd Street Northwest Drainage Improvements Project, authorizing city staff to acquire such property rights by negotiation for the city, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute appropriate acquisition documents, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Do you have any comments for us, Ms. Turner?
I do. So this report again requests the council's authorization to begin acquiring the property rights needed for the next phase of drainage improvements in the Clifton Street Northwest area. To move forward with design and construction, the city must secure both temporary construction easement and permanent drainage easements for multiple parcels. This step ensures the feasibility of the project before pursuing final design and grant funding.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Anyone have any comments, question, discussion? All right, well, I'll ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones? Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire?
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Next, we have acceptance and appropriation of the fiscal year 2026 Virginia Department of Transportation annual street payments for the city of Roanoke. We have one measure and ordinance, and we need a motion and a second.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you, council members Volleson and Powers. And I'll ask the city clerk to please read the title paragraph.
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of the fiscal year 2026 Virginia Department of Transportation annual street pavements for the city, authorizing execution of any required documents on behalf of the city, appropriating funds detailed more fully infra, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Ms. Turner, any comments?
Just one. The funding amount received is actually higher than when we originally had budgeted. So it's providing an additional $1.5 million that can be directed towards paving equipment and other street maintenance needs. So council action is needed to formally accept and appropriate these funds into authorized accounts.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question. So in here where it shows the streets that are going to get the paving, does that change over the year? And if so, how are our residents notified of these changes?
He's good.
Good afternoon, Mr. Campbell.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor. Ms. Powers, happy to address that question. So in the council report is the official notification from the Virginia Department of Transportation. And those streets that are listed are all the VDOT approved street segments within the city. And so the payment that we receive is based upon those VDOT acknowledged street segments, and that's not necessarily each street that's going to be paved in the annual plan. We do put together a 3-year forecast. We do have that on our city website, and we do share that with citizens if they ask. And then we're piloting a new program this year to be a little bit more forward-leaning in telling citizens in an area that's being paved a week to 2 weeks beforehand. Definitely some room for improvement on that as we work with the vendor that gets the paving contract from year to year, but we are making some strides this year on doing that. And again, that's in conjunction with our 3-year forecast.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me know.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Any other questions or discussion? All right, Ms. McCoy, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. Next up, authorizing request for Virginia Department of Transportation revenue sharing funds fiscal year 2029 to 2030. We have one measure, a resolution, and would ask for a motion and a second.
Move the resolution. Second.
Thank you, council members Hagan and Nash. Ms. McCoy, would you please read the title paragraph?
A resolution supporting an application and authorizing the city manager to submit such application to the Virginia Department of Transportation revenue sharing program in the amount of $10 million for FY29 and FY30 for certain projects, and authorizing the city manager or designee to take certain actions in connection with such projects.
Thank you very much. Ms. Turner, any comments?
Yes, again, the city intends to request $10 million in state funds matched with $10 million in local funds to advance critical curb, gutter, sidewalk, and drainage projects. Matching funds are outlined in the city's FY29 and FY30 capital improvement program.
Thank you very much. Any discussion, questions, or comments?
I would just ask Mr. Campbell, I'm sorry to bring you up again, but I've had folks ask how we make our decisions on where we do curbs, sidewalk, and gutter. And if you could just, I know we have like a plan that's mapped out a few years in advance, but just wanted to let folks know how that's done.
Thank you again, Vice Mayor, for the invitation to come up, and Mr. Volleson, thank you for the question. So we do have a rather extensive list. As many are aware, we have a significant backlog of curb, gutter, and sidewalk. So the prioritization is based upon a number of factors, and we've outlined a rubric, and I think I've shared that with you before, but happy to share that with Ms. Turner to distribute to council again. But essentially it follows the 10-minute walk program that our city parks do. And so we're looking at access to parks, libraries, bus stops within a 10-minute walk. And then we're also looking at economic factors as well, and prioritizing those neighborhoods where walking is more of a necessity for daily life than a luxury, to make sure that we are getting those sidewalks where they are most needed and most beneficial within that 10-minute walk radius.
All right, thank you, Ron. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Very good question. Any more comments or discussion? All right. Ms. McCoy, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the resolution passes. All right, thank you all. I think we will now turn to comments from the city manager. So can I hand it over to you, Ms. Turner?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor McGuire. I have 3 comments. Number one, artists Brandon Flowers and Katrina Leggins have begun painting a mural on the new Washington Park pool house. Participatory paint sessions were held over the last 2 weekends to engage community members in the process. Additionally, staff is working with artist Robin Mitchell to develop a call for proposals for the interactive art installations at the Eureka Park Recreation Center, which is currently under construction. Selected works will be installed in spring 2026 prior to the building reopening. Number two, landscape management is planning a pilot project at Valley Park to address persistent invasive plant growth along the retaining wall. Due to challenging terrain, traditional brush removal is both difficult and hazardous. As an alternative, the department is exploring a partnership with a local contractor that uses goats for targeting grazing. The plan includes rotating fence grazing sections toward Oak Park Street. Preparation for this project includes neighborhood outreach via door hangers and other direct communication with the neighborhood association. If successful, the grazing strategy may be repeated every 6 to 8 months and expanded to other difficult to maintain locations. And my last comment for today is last week, a coordinated effort between Public Works Transportation Division and Parks and Recreation Urban Forestry team addressed significant vegetation overgrowth along the right-of-way of Gus Nix Boulevard and King Street. Crews worked to clear brush and prune trees, resulting in improved visibility of traffic signals and signs and signals, enhanced street lighting reach, and safe line of sight conditions for motorists. This collaboration supports ongoing efforts to maintain roadway safety and ensure the accessibility of critical transportation infrastructure. And those concludes my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on those remarks? Well, I do have a comment. I am super excited for this GOAT pilot project, and really hope that if that works out, that might be something we could use in some of our other parks that get really overgrown and parts of Mill Mountain Park. So I think that's really exciting. So I appreciate hearing that. I'm also really excited to hear about the mural and the art at Eureka Park, soon to be open center. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
We cannot eat the goats. We will not. That's a separate thing. All right. Do we have anything from our city attorney today?
Yes, we do. We did presentation previously on an ordinance that would do 3 basic things with the police department. It'll establish the park patrol technicians, clean up a little bit of how we dispose of seized property, unclaimed property, so that we can dispose of it in a more efficient manner. And then also clean up a little bit of our ordinance so that it recognizes how we are practicing and utilizing the sheriff's office to more efficiently regulate all-terrain vehicles, mopeds, and motorized skateboards and scooters. So this is cleanup. We do have members of the police department here if there are any questions from council. So
I do have one question. Do I need to read this proposed amended section?
that's usually what the clerk takes care of.
Is that you? Okay. Yes. There wasn't a note there. I'm just making sure I didn't drop a ball somewhere. Well, thank you, Mr. Spencer.
Yes, sir.
I guess, yeah, up to you, Ms. McCoy.
All right, here we go. An ordinance amending and reordaining Section 20-159, Law Enforcement Officers, Division 3, Operation, Article 7, Mopeds, Bicycles, and Electric Power-Assisted Bicycles of Chapter 20, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, adding new Section 23-8, Designation and General Duties of Park Patrol Technicians, Article 1, General of Chapter 23, Police, and amending and reordaining Section 23-19, sale generally, Section 23-20, same, of perishable or bulky property, Section 23-21, same, disposition of proceeds, Section 23-22, retention for use by department, and Section 23-23, exceptions for Article 2, property seized by or otherwise in possession of police department of Chapter 23, Police of the Code of the City of Roanoke, 1979, as amended, to update the following code sections, providing for an effective date and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McCoy. So, sorry, help me out here. Do we need a motion and a second?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, council members Hagan and Nash. And is there any discussion?
No.
Okay, then I think the city clerk can call the roll.
Yes. Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Nash?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. All right. Thank you all. Well, I think we have come to the end of our agenda.
No.
No?
Number 8.
You have number 8, reports.
Oh. Well, my paper ran. I did want to go home. Okay, sorry, I didn't have this sheet.
$400 million to deal with. Oh, yes, you do.
Okay.
Before we get into that, as soon as it's read, then please present it.
Sorry, I lost a page. I'm going to steal yours, Mr. Nash. So we didn't have anything from our Director of Real Estate Valuation, so we move to reports of committees. We have a report of the Economic Development Authority recommending the issuance of revenue bonds not to exceed $400 million for Carilion Medical Center in connection with the financing and refinancing of various projects of Carilion Medical Center located at 1906 Bellevue Avenue Southwest. Michael W.S. Lockaby, Counsel to the Economic Development Authority. We have one measure, a resolution, which needs a motion and a second.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
before
Lockaby.
we can begin, I know that Mr. Nash needs to recuse himself from this matter. Please do.
Okay. I wish to declare that I am an employee of Carilion Medical Center whose business address is 1906 Bellevue Avenue Southwest, Roanoke. I stand to receive more than $5,000 in compensation from Carilion this year. Carilion is the applicant requesting the City Council's approval of the issuance of this bond by the Economic Development Authority of the city. I therefore believe I may have a personal interest in this matter and a personal interest in this transaction. These would be conflicts of interest that would prohibit my participation in this matter under the Virginia State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act. I wish to state for the minutes that I have not participated in proceedings on this matter, including speaking to other council members, members of the Economic Development Authority Board, or City of Roanoke Economic Development Department staff regarding this matter. I will not participate in voting in this matter. I will now take a seat in the audience area.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. So now may we have the city clerk read the title paragraph?
Mr. Vice Mayor, we can do whatever you would like from here
I'm trying
on.
to follow the script. If we want to discuss, I think we read the title paragraph before we discuss.
All right. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Roanoke, Virginia, approving, among other things, the issuance of not to exceed $400 million aggregate principal amount of Economic Development Authority of the City of Roanoke, Virginia, hospital revenue bonds, Carilion Clinic Obligated Group, to the extent required by Section 147 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Time for discussion.
Point of
Well,
order.
we do need a first and a second.
Oh, okay. First and motion, we need a motion and a second.
Second.
Volleson, Ms. Councilmember Volleson, thank you, and Sanchez Jones. All right. Now discussion?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, please.
Do you have one?
No.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say, to make sure that our citizens all understand that this does not put the city of Roanoke and our citizens responsible for any repayment of these bonds. Correct?
That's absolutely correct, Ms. Powers, and I actually have Mr. Vaughn from Carillion here in case there are any questions about that, but yes, this does not put the city of Roanoke or the Economic Development Authority's credit on the line for these bonds. It is based upon Carillion's own credit.
Thank you, Mr. Lockaby. Any other questions?
No, sorry.
Anyone else? All right, well, thank you. If there are no other questions, I think Ms. McCoy will invite you to call the roll.
All right. Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez Jones? Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye, and the resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank
Much
you all,
appreciated.
yeah. Appreciate that. Are there any council members that have any comments who serve on different authorities, boards, committees, or commissions in which city council serves as liaisons or appointees who would like to make any comments or announcements? No? All right. I believe moving then to motions and miscellaneous business. Are there any inquiries and/or comments by members of city council? Hearing none, we move to vacancies on certain authorities, boards, commissions, and committees, and I will ask Councilmember Nash to read those into the record. Oh, and I'm sorry, real quick. We're voting today on this, correct? Or will we say all nominees?
Yes.
All nominees when we vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor McGuire. For the Architectural Review Board, we have Stephen Featherman, who is being reappointed for a 4-year term, and he will require a residency waiver. We also have Bill Mason, who is being reappointed as well for a 4-year term. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, don't read that. For the Economic Development Authority, we are appointing Duke Baldridge. And we are reappointing him for a 4-year term, along with Mr. Ali Howie for a reappointment for a 4-year term as well. And then for the Roanoke Neighborhood Advocates, we are appointing Jay Rodriguez, Christian Ashworth, and Raekwon Moore. And lastly, we have the Towing Advisory Board, and we are appointing Jeffrey Robertson, who will require a residency waiver, and that is for a 3-year term, along with Keith Wilkerson, who will also require a residency waiver. And that is it.
Thank you, Councilman Nash. All names have been placed in nomination, so I think we are ready to vote.
Ms. Powers?
All nominees.
Mr. Hagan?
All nominees.
Ms. Sanchez Jones?
All nominees.
Mr. Nash?
All nominees.
Mr. Volleson?
All nominees.
And Vice Mayor McGuire.
All nominees. All right. Well, there being no further business set forth to come before the council meeting is adjourned.
Natera Verona. The Miami mom decided to try the Reddit advice. She called Natera and asked to pay the cash rate.
They put me on hold, came back and said, okay, $349. I thought it was that they can just suddenly come up with another amount, but I was also happy that I just saved $400.
Natera declined to make anyone available for an on-air interview. In a statement, Brian Simmons, a vice president at the company, wrote that Verona, quote, expressed confusion about her insurance benefits and we therefore made a courtesy adjustment, end quote. Other women report on social media having similar bills for genetic tests, but it's not clear how widespread this is. Simmons says Natera recognizes, quote, that health insurance can be difficult to navigate and we provide patients with clear, upfront information about coverage